I'm live in Bath speaking to farmers about the impact this warm weather is having on what they produce.
Now, you and I may have been enjoying the good weather of late, but of course it is an issue for the farming community. Government officials are due to meet with farmers and others in the National Farmers Union later on today at a so-called drought summit. It's after months of dry, hot weather, which has meant difficult growing conditions, not only for crops, but it's also reduced grass growth too, which is an issue for livestock. Well, let's head to Park Farm near Bath now, where our correspondent Rebecca Williams has been chatting to local farmers. It looks pretty dry where you are, Rebecca. What sort of issues have they been talking to you about that they're facing?
Well, yeah, Jonathan, I mean, these fields behind me, of course, would usually be lush and green, but they're pretty yellow at the moment, and this is a picture that they're seeing up and down the country. The issue that they've got here is that there's not enough food for the cattle to eat, and so they're having to dip into their winter reserves, which they would usually feed them in the winter time, and that costs a lot of money. It's also an issue for arable farms because there's not enough water in the ground, and so there is a concern as well that plants and food and produce, fruit, won't ripen properly. And so, as you say, there is this emergency summit today being held in Westminster. We're expecting the Environment Secretary Michael Gove to attend that, as well as the President of the National Farmers Union. She's saying that these conditions are unprecedented, many comparing them to the summer of 1976. And on this farm and many others, many are having to send their animals to the slaughterhouses early because they simply don't have enough food to feed them. Here's what the farmer here had to tell me.
The milk yields have been down, but we've then had to compensate for the lack of grass by feeding the winter silage, which has meant the milk yields have gone back up, but it means that we're eating into the silage supplies that we've got for the winter. And given that we've already had a very poor second cut because of the dry weather, that could mean we start running out of silage in the late winter, early spring, which could be fairly disastrous.
So what this means is when it comes to Christmas, there could be less food available in the supermarkets. There could also be a rise in prices. That's not confirmed yet, but it is something that could potentially happen. I think the issue is that it's come off the back of a very cold, mixed winter, and so these changeable conditions are clearly putting extra pressures on farmers. Like I say, they are saying that these are unprecedented conditions. We've seen as well farm fires across the country because of these very, very dry conditions. We had a little bit of rain here in the West Country over the weekend, but it's not enough to get things back to normal. And as you can see, the land here is still incredibly dry, so they are worried. I am told, though, there might be a silver lining at this farm in particular, because here they produce blue cheese, and apparently the dry conditions for that in the next few months could be beneficial. So there could be a lot more blue cheese on the dinner table come Christmas.
Rebecca, thank you very much.